Here's Peter and Ernie burning Quahog to the ground. And here's what's left of South Park after the undead homeless were let loose. I mean, come on, let's face it. You're kind of screwed if you live in either town. But let's just say you had to move to either Quahog or South Park. Which town do you think would be worse to live in? Well, today, you're going to find out because I'm going to be going through the entire history of both towns, ranking each incident on a sliding scale of 1 to 5, 1 for things that are a little bit annoying, and 5 for a catastrophic event. So come on, place your bets. Let's find out which town is the real hellhole. Starting by taking a look at the types of townsfolk you'll find in Quahog and South Park. There are certainly some wild and wacky characters in both Quahog and South Park, and not all of them are dangerous. Some are worse, annoying. And if we head on over to Rhode Island, it's hard to find anyone more annoying than everyone's least favorite maid, Consuela. Okay, sure, if she's not in your home, you've got nothing to worry about, right? Wrong. Here's the time she nearly causes a multi-car pileup just because there was a bit of spillage.
No, 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 no.
What the hell? Come on!
No drive, he's wet.
Some of you still might think she's just a sweet older lady, but believe me, you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of her.
What? You took it?
See,
Well, give it back!
come get.
I guess that's why they say never to judge a leopard by their spots, or something like that. So Quahog opens up a quick 3-point lead over the boys in South Park, but don't worry, we've got someone similarly annoying up to bat for them now. PC Principal.
Are you kidding me? This is done! Woo, woo, woo! You hear that?
His whole shtick is that he's an ultra-progressive and woke leader who's essentially Matt and Trey's commentary on the word police. But after the first 10 seconds, he gets old pretty fast. Plus, he's got a real temper problem.
You don't want to end up like the spokesman for Subway, do you? Okay, let's back up. Ah!
Did you just say spokesman instead of spokesperson?
Okay, he's woke, he's prone to beating up kids, and oh yeah, he's a trained killer.
I didn't think you were human.
I can't really give him more than 3 points either because he's killing people there who aren't technically human. But still, if he's willing to kick Carmen into next week, he'll make someone else wear a bullet for real if he's angry. So just remember, guys, if you lived in South Park, this is who you trust looking after your kids. So that's our first 3 pointers of the video because PC Principal is clearly a danger to others. But you know who else is a danger to others? Diane Simmons. And she's no stranger to pulling the trigger herself. Now, sure, you might know her as Tom Tucker's partner in crime on Quahog's 5 News.
And since the laws of death no longer apply, I can do this.
But beneath that smiley anchorwoman exterior, Diane was hiding one hell of a secret. She loves to kill, and she flexes her killing muscle when James Woods invites a fair few people from Quahog to a family dinner, starting with the host himself. She even takes out Mort's wife, Muriel. Throughout the course of the night, Diane manages to kill 5 people. She pins the whole thing on Tom Tucker too, but luckily Lois smells a rat and stops Diane before she makes a Lois number 6. Well, with a little help from Stewie anyway.
If anybody's gonna take that down, it's gonna be me.
Having a serial killer on your doorstep is no laughing matter, but sadly, that problem isn't isolated to just Quahog. In fact, they've got a much darker one in South Park, Michael Dietz, or to give him his full title, the Left-Hand Killer. I'll save you the counting, that's the left hand of 18 people. So, yeah, Dietz makes Diane look like a Little League killer. Although Diane's a little more slick with her killing, Dietz is just a total Fruit Loop.
This is me at the Grand Canyon. This is me at Mount Rushmore. Here I am at the Alamo in San Antonio. Do you see? Do you see?
Yes, I see!
I see that you should put some clothes on, Dietz, but that's about it. Anyway, the cops eventually figure out that Dietz has Cartman and end up rescuing him, but you might want to keep this episode in mind because we'll be coming back to it a little later. So we've seen some annoying folks, some dangerous folks, but what about when the worst of society starts clumping together? Like the time when Peter caused an angry mob to march to his house after he started meddling with her favorite TV shows.
See that guy with the ponytail in the background? He sneaks up and scares the girls.
That'll teach you to mess with trash TV. Get it, trash TV? No? Okay, I'll make myself that. Well, seeing an angry mob doesn't move the needle for Peter, and he stands his ground.
You converted the biggest loser to the metric system. Now it feels like they're not losing enough. I am a Nielsen god. You're just jealous because I get to say what's on TV now.
Yeah, that's right, Peter. You make the already angry mob even angrier. I'm sure that's how you'll get things ironed out.
Well, if it isn't Mr. Nielsen himself.
More like that's how he'll get ironed out. Luckily, after they hospitalized Peter, the mob toned things right down, so I can only really give them 3 points because they were just after the Griffins. Which is more than I can say for the citizens of South Park, especially when Black Friday rolls around. Man, the people of Colorado are not to be messed with when it comes to discounted goods. And this is the aftermath, so this is going to be our first 5-pointer. After looking at the average townsfolk, South Park is leading Quahog 20-4. But the people are one thing. How dangerous a town is, however, is a whole different ballgame. Like, how often do you see something like this in your town?
Well, I mean, if that's what I gotta do, then I guess
A grand piano falling on someone randomly is a 1 in a million shot, and the fact Peter survives is like 1 in a billion. South Park had a similar situation with Kenny, and you can probably tell how that ended.
Look out!
Oops. To be honest, if you wanted to make this a total one-sided fight, you could just list every single one of Kenny's accidental deaths, but where's the fun in that? Sure, if they're relevant, I'll mention them. I'm well aware that if your name's Kenny McCormick, South Park is way more dangerous for you, just like Quahog is way more dangerous for Cleveland. Well, only when he's taking a bath.
Bocce balls!
I bought a tank!
The fact Peter has a full-on armed tank and is letting the gun shoot all over the place is an instant 3-pointer in my eyes. Poor Cleveland is just collateral in this case. And by the way, like Kenny, I'm only counting the one bathtub moment. Fair's fair. Talking to Kenny though, he's still at the center of things in Colorado, and more importantly, at the center of a stampede. And a cop car, I forgot to mention that. So not only do animals roam the streets, but when the cops show up to round them up, they end up doing more damage than the cows. But this sort of stuff is small town chaos, which is nothing compared to the time a terrorist cell targeted Quahog, and of course Peter was in the middle of it.
He's the perfect man to help us blow up the Quahog Beach.
Oh my god! Everybody down!
To be fair to Peter, he doesn't know what he's getting himself wrapped up in, and when he lets the situation slip to the guys, they immediately realize what's going on.
Peter, I think you joined a terrorist sleeper cell.
Look, I'm gonna call Mahmood right now on this cell phone he gave me. He'll tell you. Damn phone's busted.
Peter, please stop trying to call Mahmood.
Jeez, Peter, put the phone down. Despite being radicalized, Joe manages to persuade Peter to wear a wire to one of Muhammad's meetings to hopefully expose their terrorist plot.
Sorry, can you repeat all that? I just had an itch right by my microphone.
Microphone?
Instead of killing him on the spot, they force Peter to drive their bombs to the bridge because they want that thing blown up one way or another. Luckily, just as Muhammad is about to press the detonator, Joe steps in to save the day.
Look, Joe, I drove a van.
The bridge lives to fight another day, and Peter's clear of becoming a terrorist. Well, apart from when he set off 2 bombs earlier, but who really cares? Speaking of which, we don't see the full scale of them or know if they injured or killed anyone, so we'll go with a 4-pointer as a safe bet. Of course, though, Quahog isn't the only small town to be a terrorism target, because in the episode The Snook, South Park has its own bomb plot, only the bomb is inside of Hillary Clinton.
Mr. Thompson, that kid who called in the warning was right. We uncovered intel that terrorists have obtained a nuclear device and that they have most likely hidden it in Mrs. Clinton's.
Carmen does some digging and suspects that it's the new Muslim family in town that's to blame for the snook, but his snooping only leads him to being kidnapped and the real enemies being revealed.
You really think Muslims are behind this terrorist threat? Who is America's oldest enemy?
The Russians?
Before that, the greatest enemy America has ever known.
Yep, it's the British who were behind this nuclear bomb plot. But while that Russian decoy was explaining the entire plan to Cartman, Kyle has been tracking his whereabouts, and he gives the location to the FBI, who, like Joe did with Peter, jumps in and saves the day.
If we don't find that detonator, everyone in the town of South Park is going to die.
With the threat over, you'd think they'd remove the device from Hillary's body, but nope, they leave it in there. But hey, at least like in Quahog, no major bombs are set off. It's still worth at least 3 points in my mind. Like I say though, at least it never went boom, which is more than can be said for the time Peter accidentally rigged a children's hospital with explosives.
You see that Anheuser-Busch billboard? Well, watch this. Oh, God.
Without mentioning the fact that Peter's killed dozens of kids, a building being blown up from the inside is also most likely going to collapse, so this is for sure a hazard to the town. You know what else can be hazardous to a town? I don't know, if say a giant space station crash landed on it?
Stad. Bodit, but stad. Oh, stool.
Luckily, there's only one death caused by the station. Sorry, Kenny, but it's still for sure hazardous to the town. What if it landed bang smack in the middle of South Park? Luckily, it didn't, but this is the sort of stuff you'd have to worry about if you lived there. Space stations falling out of the sky, and it's not much better in Quahog with random buildings being accidentally blown up. Who keeps tabs on all this stuff anyway? Shouldn't the police be doing a better job in both towns? Well, funny I should say that, because we're about to take a look at who polices their town better. Pretty much anywhere you go in the world, the police will have a pretty bad rep, and that doesn't change in Quahog or South Park. Although this type of policing isn't exactly what they're known for.
Hey, Toots, you know why I pulled you over? I'll need to see your driver's license.
What? Joe, what the hell's wrong with you? It's me, Quagmire.
Joe isn't the only cop to try and get some, though, because believe me, Barbardy is just as big of a horn dog.
Man, we've got a big problem.
Why, Chef?
You're probably wondering why we're standing here with a pile of money and no pants on.
Joe might be a bit of a creep, but he's still doing his job. Barbardy, on the other hand, is blowing off his duties while there's a whole Halloween disaster going on, which has nothing to do with the Japanese mafia. Talking to the mafia and organized crime, though, the force has got to have a strong stance on fraud. You can't just let anyone walk around stealing bank cards, or in this case, burn down entire buildings for an insurance payout. Well, that's exactly what Peter and Quagmire do to Mort's pharmacy. Obviously, they'd hoped to have just gotten away with it and made themselves a bit richer, but it's not long before Joe's on their tail, and worse, he's found evidence.
Oh, my God, look at that fire we started, Quagmire and Mort. You know who I don't miss is Joe.
That's a piece of evidence that hurts all of us.
At first, Joe does his job and arrests the three of them, but when he hears about the insurance part of the scam, he remembers how the insurance screwed him over when he got injured, plus it's his friends inside, so he suddenly becomes a corrupt cop and lets them go.
And I've still got the evidence to prove it.
Message deleted.
Yeah, I'm letting you guys go.
Sure, it's understandable, but the law is the law. At least Joe is helping out his friends and sticking it to big businesses, which is more than can be said for Detective Yates in South Park. Remember a little while ago I told you to remember the left-hand killer episode? Well, Yates is also a big star of that episode. He's famous for using Cartman, a literal child, as a psychic guide to help him find serial killers.
What do you see in your mind?
Ice cream.
Turns out, though, the Cartman is pretty good at the whole clairvoyant thing and ends up snagging a few serial killers, or so he thinks. Basically, he's just giving other people the credit for deeds, which is why that psycho kidnaps him. And if it wasn't bad enough that Yates was using a kid to do his job and ended up getting him kidnapped by a serial killer, when he goes to find Cartman, he makes the mother of all mistakes.
That boy was right. Arrest that guy. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm wrong. The serial killer always cuts off the victim's left hands. On your left hand, the thumb faces to the left. Nope, this isn't our man. We're sorry, Mr. God. It appears we've wasted your time.
As I said before, they do burst back in and waste deeds, but still. That's got to be some of the lousiest police work going on, and it's easily worth 3 points. So we know both sets of police are pretty bad at their job, but how do they treat more sensitive topics like, say, race? Well, we get a little insight into how things run over in Quahog when Joe brings out the new police surveillance van for the boys to go joyriding in, which is a problem in itself, really, and the guys can't help but fool around.
What the hell is this?
It's the new police surveillance van. We're going on a beer run. Want to join us?
Nah, I quit drinking. What?
Oh, my God.
Man.
Fooled ya.
Obviously, everything about the van is horrendous, but the fact that it's a new state-of-the-art machine and it's got that minority mode built in, that's wild. So if that's the sort of vehicle they drive, you can be pretty certain the cops are going to be 500 times worse.
Hey, you're that black guy I saw in the news conference, ain't you? This is car 15. I'm gonna need backup. I've got a stolen vehicle here.
What?
Officer down.
Yet I don't have much faith that the cops over in South Park are going to be much better. Let's see how Officer Barbardy handles a potential school shooting. I wonder who he's going to target.
Oh, nobody move! What's happening? Get her out of here! They've got me!
Doesn't help his case that he ends up shooting a minority kid too. And actually, that incident causes the entire police force to become redundant in South Park and Barbary to lose his job. However, thanks to a few things like the kids becoming radicalized by terrorist groups, the police are brought back to bring order, although Barbary's trigger finger ain't much better.
They're just stupid ninjas!
It's the same kid, too. Yeah, it'll surprise no one to know that Barbary gets fired again. Sure, they're useless, but at least South Park has police officers. Over in Quahog, they'll let anyone join the force, even Peter Griffin, and he's got a nasty trigger finger nearly as bad as Barbary's.
Oh, I can't believe I'm married to a big, scary police officer.
Just keep your eyes on the eggs, ma'am.
Dang, Lois is freaky. Nearly as freaky as Yolanda. Sorry, I mean Officer Yates, you know, from the time he went undercover as a prostitute.
Sorry, I was so quick. Oh, that's all right. Nothing wrong with it. Freeze!
Might not seem like the worst thing a cop has done, but you gotta take into account that this is not only entrapment, it's assault. Clearly, Yates enjoys this undercover mission more than he's meant to.
That's right.
Either he prepares for an undercover mission like Daniel Day-Lewis, or he's having the time of his life. Hey, there's nothing wrong with what he's doing, it's how he's doing it. Coercing men to sleep with what they think is a woman only to use them for a good time, then book them, that's crazy cop behavior. I think it's fair to say that South Park has the worst police force out of the two shows. Barbary and the bunch are out of their depth. It was a close call, though. Not as close to the battle for the worst place to live, though. We're just about halfway, and the scores stand at 36 to Quahog and 41 to South Park. So as it stands, if you had the gun to your head, you'd be on your way to Rhode Island. But there's plenty of chances for that to change, especially as we come on to our next category, dangerous wildlife. When you hear the word wildlife, you usually expect to find it in, well, the wild. Not in a 20-story office building, and certainly not if the said wildlife was a giant hulking gorilla. Stewie manages to escape the clutches of that killer gorilla, but the same can't be said for poor old Chef when he falls to his doom, which is also known as falling into a pit with a mountain lion and a grizzly bear. Geez, I've got a feeling South Park may just have too much ammo for Quahog on the dangerous animals front. Although, I'll tell you something that South Park doesn't have, a giant chicken who can throw serious hands. Ernie and Peter have had it in for each other for like ever, but it's not always just those guys that get dragged into their fights, like when they took their fisticuffs to the subway. That's a perfectly good boombox destroyed there. Anyway, you get the idea. Ernie and Peter fight a lot, and they put others in potential danger as well. Believe it or not, though, over in Colorado, they got some serious poultry of their own. Dr. Mephisto's genetically mutant turkeys, you know, the ones that ran rampant across the town and killed people, well, see for yourself what they can do. Chef manages to put a team together to slaughter those turkeys just in time for Thanksgiving. A horde of killer turkeys is pretty cool, but does South Park have ants that can do this?
You shall battle to the death. Why are you looking at me like that?
Peter, would you like a glass of... Oh, my God!
The answer is no, they don't. They're not even mutant ants either. They're Quahog born and bred. It makes me wonder what's in the soil over there. I was going to give you the heads up about the next animal from South Park, but given Peter's position, I don't think that's a sensitive move. However, you'll all know this guy. He's the one, the only Man-Bear Pig.
That's a big throw around back. You can't just let people tell you that if you don't believe in men.
Now that thing is scarier than all the other animals on this list combined. He literally destroys half the town, killing people and biting chunks out of them as he goes. And just like Ernie, he's a bit of a recurring character, so you'd always worry about having to deal with this.
Oh, no, wait! Man pig! Bear!
So yeah, South Park breezes past Quahog when it comes to dangerous wildlife, but it's all still to play for. So get your predictions in. Where's gonna be the worst to live? I guess before we can give you a definitive answer, we gotta go back to the past to look at some of the wildest disasters that have ever struck both Quahog and South Park. I mean, who can forget the time Miley Cyrus trashed Quahog? Yeah, that ain't a normal human. Basically, Disney programmed her to be the perfect artist on and off the stage, but when Stewie tries reprogramming her, he turns her into a killing machine. So if you lived in Quahog and you wanted to go and watch one of your favorite artists, you'd have to worry about them slaughtering you. Hey, at least they don't have that problem in South Park. Oh wait, they do, and it's far worse.
The town of South Park has managed to rebuild itself once again
So that thing is a Godzilla-fied version of Barbra Streisand, and she's out for some artifact called the Triangle of Zinthar. That's not that important though, it's just crazy to me that no matter which town you pick to live in, you're at risk of being killed by a mechanical singer. In fairness, it's a little different because no one's favorite artist is Barbra Streisand. No offense, Babs. If you're not worrying about robots trashing the town, you've also got weather to think about because apparently Quahog is in hurricane country.
Oh, what a mess.
For the love of God,
Oh my God.
Peter was just fooling around there because luckily no one was actually hurt, but that sure was one strong hurricane. South Park's had its fair share of bad weather too, though not exactly like a hurricane. Instead, they had a smug storm disaster, which is a deadly cloud of thick, dark electricity. And it ravages the town, causing millions of dollars worth of damage.
And now has left thousands homeless. All across the Midwest, people are picking...
It probably is a little worse than the hurricane that hit Quahog, but as no one died, it's only fair if I give this the same score. But alright, that's enough of the warm-up. What you really came here for is the big disasters. Like when a nuclear bomb was dropped on Quahog.
Still, it's pretty amazing.
Don't worry, the Griffins managed to survive, but nearly everyone else on the planet gets wiped out, and those that are left, they're either dying from radiation poisoning or are hideously mutated.
Still, it's pretty amazing.
With the way things are in the world, you might not need to move to Quahog to get your nuclear fix. One might be coming to a town near you real soon. But I'll tell you what won't be coming to a town near you: giant man-eating guinea pigs. Unless you live in South Park.
What is that?
It isn't like a quick stampede, kill a few people, and they run off into the sunset. These beasts literally destroy the entire town and kill hundreds.
Where do we go, Randy?
Those beasts are from Peru, and after the US stopped pan flute bands from soothing their inner demons, they decided to wreak havoc. I'm not sure why they specifically chose Colorado. Either way, it's crazy how scary they managed to make guinea pigs look. There's even a mutant Godzilla guinea pig. Okay, not exactly, but I couldn't leave that guy out. For those Easter egg heads among you, you'll know there's a sneaky reference to the giant lizard in 1 million years BC, although that lizard didn't go on a killing spree. When it comes to disasters, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place picking either Quahog or South Park, because one way or another, you're probably going to be killed, or at the very least, your home will be smashed to bits. And here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. The final scores are in, and after the dust settles, Quahog clocks in an overall 58 points, while your winner, and officially the worst town to live in out of the two, South Park, with a 72 whole whopping points. There were 7 5-pointers handed out today, and South Park walked away with 5 of them. So while Quahog might be consistently awful, when South Park has a bad day, it really goes off the rails. That's all the action we've got for you today, but if you haven't quite had your South Park and Family Guy fixes, why don't you give one of our other videos on screen a click? Go on, I'll catch you on over there. Thanks for watching.